Take a look at this 1890 photograph of Bethlehem. In ancient Hebrew, the name Bethlehem translates directly to house of bread. Yet the book of Ruth opens with a geographic irony. The house of bread is empty, gripped by a severe famine. The conditions become so desperate that a prominent local man named Elimelech is forced to abandon his ancestral land. He packs up his wife, Naomi, and their 2 sons, and flees across the border. This map tracks their migration route. To survive, Elimelech's family leaves the familiar hills of Judah, descends through the harsh terrain of the Jordan Valley, and crosses into the foreign territory of the high plains of Moab. Leaving the house of bread to find food among historical enemies is a move born of sheer desperation. It's the first step in a brutal process that will strip Naomi of her entire identity. Moab initially offers false hope. The family survives the famine, but the husband, Elimelech, dies shortly after they settle in this desolate landscape. A temporary reprieve follows. Naomi's 2 sons grow up and marry local Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah. For 10 years, the fractured family manages to rebuild a stable life. Then the secondary tragedy strikes. After a decade, both sons die. Naomi is now left alone with her 2 foreign daughters-in-law and 0 male heirs. This diagram illustrates exactly what that means in the ancient Near East. Without a husband or sons, a widow's legal and social standing collapses to the absolute bottom of society. She has no property rights and no source of income. Her husband is gone, her sons are dead, her homeland is miles away. Naomi has hit absolute zero. She exists in a total societal vacuum. Word reaches Moab that the famine in Judah has finally broken. Naomi decides she must trek across this desert canyon back to Bethlehem alone. Reaching a crossroads, Naomi turns to Ruth and Orpah and makes a practical command. She tells them to go back to the safety of their mother's houses in Moab. Naomi lays out the biological finality. She has no more sons and is too old to remarry. Even if she conceived tonight, they couldn't wait 20 years for husbands to mature. The math is an absolute zero-sum game. Orpah recognizes the reality of the numbers. She weeps, kisses her mother-in-law, and turns back to her people. She makes the universally sensible choice for self-preservation. In an ancient world governed by the thin margins of survival, cutting ties with a widow who has no future is the only rational action to take. Which makes Ruth's response to Naomi completely illogical. She refuses to leave. Ancient Hebrew uses a specific word to capture this action, hesed. It defines a radical, self-sacrificial loving-kindness and an unbreakable loyalty that defies common sense. The cost of Ruth's vow is total. By stating, "Whither thou goest, I will go," Ruth surrenders her nationality, abandons her native gods, and any secure future. She sets the ultimate stakes. Where thou diest, will I die. She entirely binds herself to Naomi's empty fate until the grave. Ruth's vow breaks the rules of human survival. Her hesed becomes the sole anchor stopping Naomi from drifting into complete oblivion. When the 2 women walk through the gates of Bethlehem, the townspeople look at the weathered, unrecognizable widow and ask, "Is this Naomi?" Naomi rejects them. She commands the city to call her Mara, which translates to bitter, rejecting her original identity entirely. Her public self-assessment is devastating. "I went out full," she tells them, "and the Lord hath brought me home again empty." Her grief is blinding. The pain of the past decade has warped her reality so severely that she is unable to see what she still possesses. But the narrative forces us to look past Naomi's internal state to the objective reality. Naomi declares that she is empty while standing next to Ruth, a woman whose devotion will prove more valuable than biological sons. Look at this photo of workers in the fields. The text leaves us with a specific detail. Naomi and Ruth walk into Bethlehem right at the beginning of the barley harvest. This shift to agricultural abundance serves as the literary foreshadowing that the end of Naomi's spiritual and familial famine has already begun. Deep, devastating grief is a valid human experience, but radical, unbreakable devotion, hesed, is the seed that bridges the gap between famine and fullness.